What's up, everybody? Back for another beer review, and today I'm reviewing a beer from the Flying Monkeys Craft Brewery, and they are out of Barrie, Ontario, Canada, and this is their Sparklepuff Galaxy Starfighter Defender of the Universe. So this is a triple IPA that is brewed, I believe, with peaches, comes in at 10.2% alcohol by volume, at 37 IBUs at the time of review. This can is approximately 1 month old. So I'm really happy this beer showed up, and that's because a lot of my Canadian beer tubing friends have already reviewed this beer. Talking about Chris over at Off the 10th, Ashley over at Sexton Brewing, and Carrie, aka Redbeard, and they all seem to think highly of this beer. Now, when it comes to Flying Monkeys, I typically enjoy what they do. If you look behind me on the pretentious wall of bottles and cans, you will see their B&L Imperial Chocolate Stout. That was a beer that was released 7 years ago in collaboration with the Bare Naked Ladies. Absolutely delicious beer. And I also like their Chocolate Manifesto and a bunch of other beers. Their core lineup is just solid for me. I don't really seek it out, especially here in the Western New York area, but they're solid for what they are. But when I saw this one show up, because of the aforementioned 3 individuals and a bunch of other Canadian friends that I have that don't have beer tubing channels, I wanted to grab this one because it seems like it's a pretty damn good beer. Now, there's a little bit of, let's just say, chatter. I'm not going to call it controversy. I think that's stupid to use that word in this situation. But if you go check out Ashley's review over at Sexton Brewing, he talked about, there's a lot of people on Instagram and on Tab, posting pictures of how much sediment's in this beer. And it varies from one can to the next, apparently. And, he pretty much talks about why that is. I mean, it's a triple IPA that's triple dry hop. There's going to be a lot of goodies left over. And why I said at the beginning that I believe this is brewed with peaches is because on the side here it says Sparklepuff launches with a payload of smashed summer peaches. So I'd imagine they're using peaches in here, and that's just not a tasting note. So you're going to have leftover sediment from that as well. So when people are talking about like snow globes and this looks crazy or whatnot, sure, aesthetically pleasing, probably not, but at the end of the day it shouldn't hurt you. So I will say this. On Untapped, in the description of this beer, they actually updated it and put a note there that said to shake this can 15 minutes before drinking it, so it's more of like a suspended particles as opposed to just everything going to the bottom of it. And I did that. I shook this 15 minutes ago, give or take a few minutes, and if this explodes, this is all on Flying Monkeys, so hopefully it doesn't. But I did that. We'll see if it matters. I don't know if it will, but I'm really excited to give this one a go because I've heard great things. So let's hope this doesn't explode. Nah, it's fine. It's 15 minutes ago. We're good. Let's pour this into the Bellwoods glass. So yeah, that pours out like most, crazy New England style IPAs. Now, I will say, based on what I'm seeing here, after shaking it up and looking at this, this has been a long time since I did this, Chris. Oh my God. It's so murky, I can't really see any particles. But yeah, I mean, there's maybe a few, but there's not much. So that pours out this really deep honey orange color, about a half finger of an off-white head. It looks like a New England style IPA, right? It's a triple IPA that's been triple dry hopped and apparently has peaches in it. Let's get a nose. Ooh, that is a big dankness. I don't remember too many people talking about how dank this beer is. Holy crap. Definitely peaches. I wouldn't be able to tell you there's peaches in here, like per se, if they use them. I don't know if they do. Again, they don't say it anywhere in the label. They just say, it launches with a payload of smashed summer peaches. I would imagine that you're using summer peaches that you smashed, but what do I know? I don't know anything. Yeah, lots of peaches, big dankness, nice like malty, like bready malt sweetness as well. A little bit of zesty, pithy, like grapefruit and like orange zest. But yeah, peaches, maybe an apricot, kind of blend in. Yeah, it smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. That's a solid beer. That's damn solid. So before I get into this, let me just say this. This showed up in the Western New York area a couple weeks ago, and it's about a month old. And I think they kept on brewing different batches after the initial release. And the can, specifically in Western New York, was $5.99 for a single can of this, US. Now in Ontario, I do know it was $4.95 Canadian per can. So when you do the conversion rate, a can of this in the States, basically $8 Canadian. So I know a lot of you Canadians probably wouldn't pay $8 for this can, and I understand that. $5.99 in the States though, very similar to like Deccan and Ales. They're usually like $5.49 and a lot of other beers. So it wasn't too expensive, especially for something that's been imported, but it did, you know, I kind of questioned whether I should pick this up at that price point, but I did just because why not? First off, 10.2%. I do get a little bit of alcohol, ever so slight on the palate into the chest. I'd guess this is like 8.5, 9, so not quite 10.2. The body on this is absolutely great. It's like lower side of full body, and it's pretty appropriate for 10.2% when it comes to Triple IPA. I've mentioned this numerous times before. I don't mind if the beer is a little thin when it comes to a big Triple IPA. The mouthfeel, soft, smooth, relatively creamy. You know, from probably those peaches, they're probably using like a lot of flaked oats. I don't think they're using lactose in here, but it does have a nice body and mouthfeel. It's really spot on for what you're looking for in a New England style Triple IPA. The taste isn't absolutely bursting with like crazy amounts of flavor, but I'm getting like a nice, like bready malt sweetness mixed in with those peaches. Now, whether it is because there's peaches in here or it's just the hop character, really nice peach, apricot, stone fruit vibe. As it passes through the palate, a little bit of like dankness, a little bit of herbaceousness, a little bit of almost like grassiness. So it's not straight on juice, 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 and more juice. A little bit of zesty grapefruit, zesty orange peel in here as well. Finish is relatively dry. It finishes, you know, slightly bitter, but more to the sweet side because it, you know, such a big beer. Yeah, this is a good beer. I can't. It's solid. I enjoy this. This is a beer that will probably get people in trouble. You drink a couple of these and you'd be on your ass and be asking no questions because you'd be knocked out. I don't know, maybe like 3 cans of this, but this is scary because it doesn't drink exactly like a 10.2%. This drinks like an 8.5, 9. Even though those are bigger beers, it does hide the alcohol relatively well. That's a good fucking beer. I don't know. As you can see in my glass, I'll pour the rest in here just for shits and giggles. There is some sediment, right? But like there's not crazy amounts. Let's see if there's crazy amounts here at the end. And if that even matters for me, probably not. No, I mean, there's definitely fine sediment and a few slight chunks, but like that it doesn't look gross in there. It doesn't look absolutely disgusting. I've had way worse beers for me personally. Yeah, it's a good beer. Rating. On the Sparklepuff Galaxy Starfighter Defender of the Universe from Flying Monkeys, straight on 4.25 out of 5. It's a damn solid beer. I'd want here's the thing with Triple IPAs for me. When you get 10 plus, and you're doing triple, you know, dry hopping and apparently with peaches and all this crazy shit, I want a burst of flavor. If I'm drinking a 10+% beer, I want to be smacked in the face with all the flavor. This is a little bit subdued for me personally. You know, I don't know if there's been batch variations because apparently they have brewed probably different batches based on the fact that this is a month old. And I know the first one was released, I think in January or February or something like that. So definitely different batches. But for me, for 10.2%, I just want to be, you know, smacked in the face with all the flavor. It doesn't provide a ton of flavor for the ABV, but it does have nice flavors. I do enjoy it from the peach and the apricot, the zesty orange, the zesty grapefruit into the dank herbaceous tones. And I like that it's not overly sweet. It finishes sweeter at 10.2%, but I like that there's a dryness and a slight bitterness because it kind of balances out to some extent. So yeah, that was Sparklepuff. I'm not going to say the rest of the bullshit, but it's Sparklepuff. I give it a 4.25 out of 5 from Flying Monkeys. If you've had this one, especially if you're in the US and you've had this one, I know Michigan will probably get this beer, maybe Ohio, maybe Pennsylvania, definitely New York. But if you've had this one, let me know what you think about it. Even if you're in Canada, this is probably, you know, months after most people have had it. But I'll be curious to hear people's opinions on this one who've had it for the first time recently. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review. Until the next one, cheers.